Hi everyone. Hi Summer, welcome back. Welcome to the world of paint, or balayage as you probably have heard it being called. What you're going to find is in the world of O&M we refer to it as paint because A, that ties in with the paint powder that we have to achieve this look from a freehand lightning perspective. Secondly, from a paint perspective, if you imagine the world of painting, it's all about you as the creator putting paint powder exactly where you want it to create your own masterpiece when it comes to the world of blonde. The amazing thing we have for you today in today's session is two completely different approaches where we can use paint powder. Going back and having a look at Joanna's hair, Joanna has previously been a full scalp lightener. By going in and having her first experience with foils, what Joanna's done is fallen in love with the natural hair that's starting to kick through. The difference between the front and the back is where the foils have not been done. There is quite a big demarcation line with regards to regrowth and ends that we can see here. So what we're going to be doing is using paint powder in a creative perspective on Joanna, where we're going to go in and break that line up. There we'll be using paint powder in 30 volt, and then what we're going to be doing is using paint powder with a 1.5%. That is our demi activator. And what that's going to do is just help us clean out certain areas here where we just want to cleanse some of those golden pieces out, bringing them up a little bit lighter and cleaner and diffusing that line. Through the top, what we'll be doing is doing some great surface painting, and the surface painting will basically enable us to, again, blur that line up closer to the regrowth area, and then we'll be going in and finishing this off with a beautiful root smudge and a nice cleansing toner through the mids and the ends so we can lighten and brighten Joanna's hair up completely. On Shelby, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking Shelby as a first-time client and using paint powder in 20 volume the whole way through. And what Summer's going to be doing is Summer's going to be learning with us on this journey as well, because this is Summer's very first paint session. Some of the tools that we've got at O&M to encourage sort of first-time users are our paddles that we have. The paddle is awesome because what the paddle is going to do is enable us to load our product up on the paddle. So when we go in and we're working with our section, we're able to get enough product underneath as well as on the top. So when we paint it through, we can ensure that there is complete saturation. Saturation is key for us when we talk about the world of paint powder because the powder itself is designed to be used in such a way that it forms a crust on the outside. And what that crust does on the outside is it hardens and keeps the product active on the inside, so there is continual lightening the whole way through the process. But what the crust does, it stops the product from transferring onto hair that it lies against. So with paint powder, from a creative perspective, there is no need to use any foil, any foam, or even cellophane or saran wrap to isolate pieces from each other. It's an open air technique that we can use to create beautiful lived-in blondes. In O&M, we've come up with a really simple yet very effective sectioning pattern. And what that sectioning pattern will enable us to do is address every single client with regards to the amount of lightening that we need to do. What happens with that sectioning pattern is we're going to isolate the hairline, so roughly about an inch the whole way around the hairline. What that'll then do is give us the opportunity of having a left and a right piece on the top. Then we'll isolate 3 sections at the back. We'll have our crown area, we'll have an area through the occipital bone, and then we'll have through our nape area. Now sometimes when we speak about that, it does get a little tricky, so I'm going to show you a really good trick in terms of how to isolate that area first, and then we can work our way through and section Joanna up, and we can get Shelby sectioned up at the same time too. Ready to get sectioning?
Yes.
Let's go. The very first piece we're going to do in terms of the O&M paint sectioning on our gorgeous Joanna is we're going to find the center point. So from the point of the nose, we're going to work our way back, separating the top of the head into left and right. So straight through, and we're going to separate that into left and right. So the easiest way to do the sectioning pattern according to O&M paint is from the highest point of the head, we're going to go in and we're going to take our front section out so that we've got our areas that'll isolate between front and back. At this point, just take a clip and clip the back piece out of the way. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. From the highest point, straight down, separating front and back. And then just for now, take a clip and just clip that out of the way. What that's going to do for us is give us the ability to now work solely with just the front pieces. We're going to then go in and around the hairline, we're going to take a 1-inch section. This section may vary in size based on our guest's hair texture. Finer hair texture, if you want to get more blonde into that area, take a slightly deeper section. For your clients that have got thicker hair, you might want to take a little bit finer section or a slightly smaller section just to ensure that you've got saturation. While we're speaking about saturation, saturation is key when it comes to getting the best out of paint powder. There are two things that we can do with regards to the world of saturation. One where we are talking purely about surface painting. So I'll demonstrate on gorgeous Joanna before we jump in and get product on the hair. What I mean by surface painting is we would only be applying paint powder to the surface or the top layer of our section. Where we talk full saturation, we're going to be applying color through to not just the bottom, but the top as well. So what that's going to enable us to do is do some surface painting through on the top, where we're going to be working on focusing, lightening the top layer of the hair, not saturating the whole way through that section, but as we work our way down through mids and ends, we'll find we can then increase our saturation and get more of it through. And what that in essence does is make it look like we've got very fine foils in the top with massive saturation through on the ends. On Shelby, we'll definitely see that and create this full blonde, lighter feel around the halo at the perimeter. What we're going to be doing on Joanna is going through and lifting the top up with surface painting, but cleaning those ends out with a 1.5. Okay?
Awesome.
So from a sectioning pattern now to isolate that perimeter in the front, what we're going to do is take a 1-inch section out. If we follow the hairline through, isolate that hairline area, and when you reach the top of the ear, you can take literally just a little bit off, and what you'll notice here is we've now got a really nice soft hairline area through. You'll notice there's some negative space in Joanna, so what I'm going to do in that area, just to ensure that I get complete saturation the whole way through. Joanna's hair texture is slightly finer, so remember I said finer hair texture, we're just going to take a slightly thicker perimeter area around there. We're going to leave that down for now, take this area and clip it out of the way. Your perimeter or your hairline will be known as zone 1. This section that I am clipping up right now will be known as section 2. Similarly, on the other side, I'm going to find that that'll become area 3. Repeat on the other side. We're going to go in. We're going to find our 1-inch area around the hairline and work our way through, isolating that hairline out of the equation so we can create a beautiful sun-kissed kind of feel through the hairline area. I'm just going to swing Joanna around, ask you to look slightly down for me, and we can see I've got an even space around the hairline. Again, some negative space over here, slightly bigger than on the other side, but that is not going to be a problem at all, because what we're going to do is we'll work with that piece on its own, and then we'll jump in and we'll use that piece in there. Again, I'm just going to take that area out of the equation now, clip that up and out of the way, and then we can go through and find areas 4, 5, and 6. How did you find that sectioning, Summer?
I think I did pretty well with the sectioning.
Let's have a little look and see. So we've got our isolated zone 1, which is our perimeter around the fringe, right the way through to the top of the ear. That's perfect. Yep. Perfect size sectioning as well for her hair texture, because when you go in and you're going to start painting these pieces, you're going to go in and can you see it's a really nice size piece to work with, where we can get some beautiful surface painting into some full lightening on the ends. Awesome. That is going to be known as zone 1. Yep. These two top pieces will be zone 2, zone 3.
Yep.
What we're going to go in now is we're going to go in through the back and we're going to create on the crown area a section. That'll be number 4. We'll then go where those perimeter lines are.
Yep.
Across, that'll be zone 5. That's going to sit roughly around the occipital bone. And then what we'll do is once you've isolated zone 5, we'll pull that last inch around the hairline to complete zone 1 the whole way around. And that last section over there will be section 6.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to, in a horseshoe section, we're going to go through on the top and we're going to isolate on the crown area our top piece. This top piece will be zone 4. These zones or areas are really, really important because when it comes to the amount of work that we need to do, whether it be a partial lighten, a half head lighten, or a full head lightener, it depends on which areas you've got and which areas you're going to work with. So that was section 4 that we've just created. Now the trick is here, if you see where our perimeter line ended, if we take that line through and we go over the occipital bone and connect it to the other side, that section over there will give us our perfect section for area 5. If you need to go in and neaten it up a little bit, this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Because we've gone from full blonding service through into foils, and it was only a half head of foils, as I'm sure you can see, the back area hasn't been touched. What we're going to be doing is working through all of our zones. At this stage now, what we want to do is we're going to create the perimeter around the hairline, continuing from that area, and then also creating zone 6. So we'll take our 1-inch section and take that out through our hairline. Isolating our hairline out, and then what we are left with in here is zone 6. How are you going there, Summer?
Great. I'm just wrapping up zone 6.
We're just wrapping up zone 6. We're on the same speed, same page. Now on Shelby's a first-time client, so her experience in terms of getting into the world of color may be slightly daunting. So what we can do with Shelby is literally only focus on working on zones 1, which is your perimeter, because I'd imagine Shelby would want to go in and wear her hair up at some stages. By going in and working around the perimeter, we're going to create the illusion of lightness around when she brings her hair up. Zones 5 and zone 6 on Shelby we're not going to do because that hair is going to fall on the interior and that'll create the illusion of depth or shadow through the back. If we're going in and we're doing a partial placement, generally what you're going to find we'll do is we'll focus on our hairline. We'll do zone 2 and zone 3, and that's it. If you want to do a half head, we'll do zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, and then we'll work through zones 4. Potentially zone 5 depending on hair density, and for full services we're going to do zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, 4, 5 and 6. So on Joanna's hair, because we want to break that solid lineup, we're going to be working in all zones. On Shelby we're going to be working on zones 1, 2, 3 and we'll do a little bit of work on zone 4. Awesome. Are we ready to get started?
Yes.
Let's get mixing.